Brad stood in there, delivered that ball. I went up over the dude's head and took it from him like stealing candy from a baby. And that won the game for us, and that got me my only touchdown that year. What's going on? It's Keyshawn, and we got a special episode of All Facts and No Breaks. Special Christmas edition, I would say. And remember to follow All Facts Pod on social media or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to YouTube. We need to hit that 100K mark of subscribers before the Super Bowl. Hey, Merry Christmas Eve. I guess that's what I would say. So we wanted to do something very special here and kind of answer some of the voicemails on our voicemails. I think we got about 11 of those. Kind of answer the fans' questions that give your team somewhat of support on what they should be wishing for Christmas for their particular team. Let's run the phone calls. Hey, what's up, man? It's Keyshawn. Leave your name, where you from, and let us know how you feeling or what you want to know or talk about, okay? Keep it under 30 damn seconds, too. And don't be all that craziness. Just talk clean and clear. Okay, bye. So, first caller.
Hey, Keyshawn, Scott from New Jersey. One of the craziest rules in all of sports, I feel, is when you fumble the ball into the end zone where the other team gets the ball. You fumble at the one, you keep it. If it goes in the end zone, you lose it. Any other rules in football you think are crazy and you'd like to see changed? Thanks.
Crazy rules in football. I really want to get I'm a receiver, so I really want to get the pass interference rule fixed again. Try to fix it again because they tried it once. It didn't work out. They removed it, but they got to figure out that pass interference rule. Go to the second caller.
Hey, Keyshawn. This is Declan from Los Angeles. I wanted to hear about in 2008 when Bill Parcells reached out to you about coming out of retirement, what you considered and if you thought about coming back to reunite with Bill Parcells, how close you were to doing it. Look forward to hearing about it. Have a good one.
You know what's so crazy is I was very close, but it wasn't just about coming out of retirement. Well, he took the presidential job at the Miami Dolphins, and we were working at ESPN. So he got me to retire and go in to television at ESPN that same year he joined. And one of our conversations, I remember it like it was yesterday, he goes, these things are like assembly lines. Some players get on, some players get off. Other players get on, other players get off. And they just keep rotating around. The NFL is going to be around forever. And I remember him saying, there's a lot, look around, there's a lot of guys that you came into this league with that are no longer playing. And he was telling me about my accomplishments and all the things that I did that I didn't have anything to prove to anybody, which he was 100% correct and right about. But in the end, I said, you know what, I'm going to go to ESPN. Then this sucker takes the job as the president of the Miami Dolphins, and him and I had deep conversations about me joining the team as the assistant general manager and yet still possibly playing and having a real conversation. But he also told me it would be economic suicide for me to get into the front office and personnel decisions and things of that nature and play football. It just wouldn't be worth my while. It'd be long days and my family would be away from me. And it was just like all these things. And I said, you know what? I don't think I want to do that. But I was thinking about it. I was going to take an assistant general manager position and come and play receiver for the Dolphins. But then in the end, I just decided I didn't want to do it anymore. I just want to stay in television. Go to our third caller.
God bless, Keyshawn. How you doing, man? This is Anthony calling from New York. I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers this year? And do you think the Achilles injury potentially ruin him having a good season this year? Do you have the Achilles not snap? Would Aaron Rodgers be a different player right now?
And I don't know if he would be a different player. Maybe the Achilles has something to do with a little bit of his mobility, but he looked like he moved around pretty well to me. He's had a horrible dog of a year. Um, do I think he's washed? I think he's washed. I think he's not the same clearly from 4 years ago. And it's going to be hard for me to see a team willing to sign him to be the starting quarterback at this age in his lack of production over the last 4 years. I don't, and he's been in the media talking a lot about pundits and ex-players. And so he's all over the place. Let me get the fourth caller.
Yo, Keyshawn, this is Trey from Evansville, man. I gotta know, who was your favorite person to match up against? Like, you saw him, and he just was like, oh yeah, I'm about to eat today. And then who was your least favorite? Like, man, it's about to be a tough day on the field. Let me know, man.
So my eat guy was pretty much everybody as far as that's the way I approached it. It didn't matter who it was. It could have been any defensive back that's out there that I felt like, okay, I'm gonna eat today. Because based on the game plan throughout the course of the week, exactly what it is that you getting ready to get yourself into. If you're gonna have a good game or a so-so game or a bad game, just based on the game plan and how things go in practice. And the least favorite to go against was a dude named James Hastings. He played for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he played with Dale Carter and Nate McMillan. It was all three of those corners. And James was big, strong, and his hands was like fucking hammers. They was just strong. And he just, man, I think I might have had my worst game in my NFL career going up against him. But that ain't matter anyway. We don't want to talk about that no more. Go on to the fifth. Is it the fifth caller or the sixth caller? The next caller, better yet. I'm losing count now. You got
Keyshawn,
me.
CJ from New Jersey. Just wondering, what are some of the favorite stadiums you ever played in, and what are some of the worst? Just curious. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye.
Favorite stadiums I ever played in? I would say, obviously, the Meadowlands at home in New York. That was one of my favorites. Atlanta, at their stadium was one of my favorites. New England, the old Foxborough was one of my favorites. Oakland Coliseum was one of my favorites. The worst stadium, I'm trying to think, was probably the Chicago Bears, Soldier Field, RFK Stadium in Washington, Cowboy Stadium in Irving, Texas, because it had this crown. The field wasn't flat. The crown, so that they built it, I guess, so that the water could drain off the sides. But when you ran a route, it was like you dropped down and the ball would be high all the time. It was like the worst stadium to play in. And yeah, that's about it that I could think of off the top of my head. Next caller.
What's up, Keyshawn? It's Brian. What is your thought on all these drones? Happy holidays.
To be honest with you, man, I really ain't paying attention to that because I'm not into the whole sci-fi conspiracy theories. I think people crazy that get caught up in that sort of stuff. That's how I view it. Whenever it would come on my television, on the news or something, I turn the channel. I don't hear nothing about no damn drones flying. People just do drones. That's what people do now. They like to fly drones. I don't think there's no mysterious thing going on and being spied on by the government and all of a sudden it's UFOs. That's not me. I don't get caught up in that. This episode of All Facts, No Breaks is presented by Color Guard. As my listeners may know, a few of my family and close friends have undergone battles with various forms of cancer, so increasing awareness around the importance of cancer screenings is very personal to me. And on that note, today I want to tell you about the Color Guard test, which is a great use at-home option to screen for colon cancer. The Color Guard test is one-of-a-kind way to feel more in control of your colon cancer screenings through a prescription-based test with none of the prep that's required in a colonoscopy. It is the only FDA-approved non-invasive screening test that looks for both altered DNA and blood in your stool. What I want my listeners to know is that colon cancer screenings are crucial for early detection because many patients with early stage colon cancers have no symptoms at all and are diagnosed through a preventative screenings. And for my listeners in their late 40s who think this doesn't apply to them, guess what? The American Cancer Society recommends that if you are at average risk, you begin screening for colon cancers at age 45. We're not talking 50 or 55 here, people. When it comes to staying on top of your health, the time is now. Plus, the Cologuard test doesn't just offer convenience and ease of use, it's also affordable. Most insured patients pay $0 with zero downtime, no special preparation, and use at home screening tests that deliver right to your door. It's delivered right to your door. There's no reason that we should let our health take a back seat. What are we waiting for? So if you're 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a Cologuard prescription through a telehealth provider today at Cologuard.com/podcast. The Cologuard test is intended to screen adults 45 and older at average risk for colorectal cancer. Do not use Cologuard test if you have had an anomalous, have inflammatory bowel disease, and certain hereditary syndromes, or a person or family history of colorectal cancer. The Cologuard test is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Cologuard test performance in adults ages 45 to 49 is estimated based on a large clinical study of patients 50 and older. False positives and false negatives can occur. Cologuard is available by prescription only. Next caller.
David Campbell from Philadelphia, diehard Keyshawn Johnson fan. I want to know your thoughts on the season where you had 100 catches and only one touchdown. Please explain that or talk about your thoughts on that season. Thank you. Bye.
Well, the thoughts of that season is that we didn't throw the ball in the red zone enough for me to score more than one touchdown. You know, I was on a team and a coach and Coach Dungy that believed in enough points to win a game and a solid defense. So if we can win a game 6-3, we was gonna take it. You know, if we win a game 12-9, we was gonna take it. That was just what they believed in. And I remember Tony Dungy telling me throughout the year, he goes, if you're gonna score before you get to the 20. Because we gonna run, and Grammatica gonna come in and kick the field goal. Ironically, the one touchdown that I did get, now we threw the ball to me a couple times in the end zone, but I was covered by 3 people, and it was just 2 people. It was just difficult. But the one touchdown that I did score was against the Detroit Lions, and they called this play in the huddle that we had been running all game long, and it was not working, and they called it again. And I told Brad Johnson, I said, whatever you do, I'm going to the corner. Just hang in there, throw it up, and I'm gonna get it, and we gonna win the game because we were losing to Detroit. That won the game. It was like a walk-off because they wanted me to run an in cut, a dig, and then I went back to the corner because I knew the dude was gonna cut me off. Brad stood in there, delivered that ball. I went up over the dude's head and took it from him like stealing candy from a baby, and that won the game for us, and that got me my only touchdown that year. That's what it was. I didn't complain about it. I didn't pout about it. I was like, whatever. People knew that they were only throwing me the football I was the one, that was the only dude they was throwing the ball to. They wouldn't throw the ball to nobody else. So I had 100 catches when nobody else had 100 catches in the National Football League. It wasn't a time like you look now. 100 catches nowadays, man, that's like a layup. Back then, you struggled to get 75 catches. Next caller.
Hey, Keyshawn, it's Jack. I'm from New York City, and I was wondering, as the college football season is winding down and the NFL draft is coming up soon, I was wondering what's like the number one thing that you would tell young wide receivers right now going into the draft, and like what's like the biggest piece of advice you could give them as they begin their NFL journey. All right, thanks, man, and have a good day.
You too. I would say to them, piece of advice is the norm. Work your ass off and work hard. The number one thing that you got to do is you got to catch the football when it's thrown to you. You got to catch the ball. Can't drop the ball. Got to catch it. Thirdly, polish up your route running. Crisp routes is you never get enough of just running routes routinely all by yourself. You can run routes on air and just practice all by yourself. I used to do it all the time. I'd get up in the morning, go to the local high school, and when during the off season, had no quarterback, I'd just get out there and run routes and visualize if the ball was coming to me. Next caller.
Hey, what's up, Keyshawn? This is Kyle from San Diego. I want to get your thoughts on a little bit of college football. You being a former Trojan and all, what are your thoughts on Lincoln Riley with how long he's been with USC? Many people are unhappy with the progress he's made there, so just want to get your take to see if he's on the hot seat or not, as well as his decision on benching Miller Moss and Miller Moss now entering the transfer portal. Want to get your take on what the quarterback situation will be moving forward. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Man, it has been less than flattering with Lincoln Riley at his tenure at USC. We got off to his first year, got off to a decent start. We thought we were going to go to the Final Four. It didn't happen. Caleb got hurt, and we lost to Utah, so that was over with. And then we got blew out in the Cotton Bowl by Tulane. So that was, a bad deal. As far as his things go with Lincoln, I'm gonna give him till next year, and I'm gonna see exactly if he could turn things around and get things going. The schedule's in our favor. Some of the teams that we're playing aren't great teams. I know we go to Notre Dame. I don't know what Notre Dame will be next year. We go to Lincoln, Nebraska. I have no idea what Nebraska is going to be. Illinois is always a tough team. We play those are the three teams, and UCLA, obviously. Those are the four teams that, I think we go to Oregon, too. So that's five teams that can be tough games. If he starts off slow, we got to fire his ass. If he starts off hot, we got to wait and see. I don't like the recruiting. I think the recruiting is dismal. I have no idea what the philosophy is by not putting a net over the West Coast, not just Southern California, but the West Coast. I want the best player out of Seattle, out of Washington, so to speak. I want the best player out of Alaska. I want the best player out of Oregon, Vegas. I want the best players out of Vegas. I want the best players in California. I want the best players in Arizona. I want to look at all of those guys, and I'm going to cherry pick other states for other players, and I'm going to win a lot of games by doing that. Because what has happened with his recruiting, which is fucking pisses me off, they refuse to recruit in state the way that they need to. It's a lot of us are not happy with that. It makes zero sense. Like 0 cents. Like zero. Like you're getting dudes out of transfer portal from like New Mexico State. Like, what are you doing? But, he's gotta figure it out or he'll be on the streets next year. Then, as far as Miller Moss goes, I thought Miller Moss was playing well from my eyes. I'm not in the room. I don't know what throws he was missing, but watching him play, I thought he did okay for a guy as a first-time full-time starter. But when you make a move like he made, that's called self-preservation and blaming game. So you blame Miller Moss for the losses in the offense struggles, but then you put in a quarterback that throw 2 pick sixes, 100 yards at the Notre Dame game. So we'll see what the quarterback situation looks like next year. But Lincoln Riley ass is on the hot seat. And if he doesn't turn it around, it's going to get hotter to the point where it's going to stick to the seat. He won't be able to get up. Next caller.
Yo, this P. Clutch caller from Chicago, man. I just got a question. Do you still think LeBron is top 5 in the NBA? I believe he is. A lot of people say not, but can't name a lot of players that's beaten Bron.
As far as top 5, I can't put him in a category at 40 years old. He's just by himself, and he's playing extremely well. I can't because it doesn't. The age alone and what he's doing doesn't make sense. So he's like just a basketball player at this point in his career that nobody can stop. Only thing that's gonna be able to stop him is Father Time at this age. So I don't necessarily put him in a top 5 category at all. He by himself. He's LeBron James. What are you gonna say? Next caller.
Hey, Keyshawn, my name is Andre. I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I just want to let you know, man, I've been watching you since you went to USC, and I stayed up the street. Mike Irvin was my next door neighbor, the playmaker. But, man, you should be in the Hall of Fame, too. I'm tired of all these other guys. They talking about T.O. and Ocho, Chad Johnson. You supposed to be a Hall of Famer, too. Thank you. Have a good day.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, but as I tell people all the time, my goal when I came into the NFL in 1996 was not to be in the Hall of Fame. My goal was to make a lot of money and set my family up, my mom, brothers and sisters. That was my goal. My goal was not to get a yellow jacket. Unfortunately for me, playing with like 19 different quarterbacks in 11 years, I didn't compile the numbers per se the way some of these other guys did from a longevity standpoint and quarterback standpoint. So hats off to them, those that did get in the NFL. I'm very happy and satisfied. I mean, the Hall of Fame, I'm very happy and satisfied with my career. Another thing I would say, there's a lot of people out there that would trade their career, both on and off the field, for my career. But there's nobody out there that I would trade my career on and off the field for at all. So, but thanks for the kind words. Next caller.
What's up, Keyshawn? This is Lauren from Florida. I just wanted to know. I just saw Mahomes just bought all of his linemen all these fancy gifts, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. Did this happen back in your day? And what's the best gift you ever got from your teammates, or did you get them anything? Thanks. Bye. Happy holidays.
So this is an interesting question because every year you know it's Christmas time, whatever the case is. So back when I was playing, every year that I went to the Pro Bowl, I bought the quarterbacks Rolex watches, every last quarterback, whether you were on the practice squad or whether you were the starter. They all got Rolex watches from me. And they also got trips to the Pro Bowl from me. And that was what I did. It's it was just a gesture of showing the appreciation that they helped me get to the point that I was at to be able to make the Pro Bowls. It cost a pretty penny, but what are you going to say? Thanks to the callers. That was fun. Continue to call in when we come back during the new year to the voicemail. I appreciate it. I really do. Make sure you guys have a wonderful Christmas and a exciting new year. That's a wrap for today's show. Remember to follow All Facts Pod on social media and all of our podcast feeds, and subscribe on YouTube. Now, subscribe on YouTube. I need that 100K. Merry Christmas.